Oh! Dragon Ball FighterZ got a balance patch. Not only that, there's a second balance patch coming out based on how this one goes. They are not done with the game. Let's go! Also, rollback got delayed. Yep, it didn't even have a date, but now it's coming out later. But a balance patch was so much needed because this meta has lasted for so long and it's been so oppressive. Everyone's tired of seeing the fusions and lab coat dominate the game. Well, let's see. Fusion's nerf. Huh? I mean, that's something, but really? Ah, yes, there he goes, the lab coat. Wait, where's Vegito? Where's Gogeta 4? What is this patch? Okay, they did get a meter nerf, but is that enough? Let's find out. We're gonna talk about all the big buffs and all the big nerfs in this patch. Like, what the hell is Vegeta doing? Hello? And the list is so long, so we'll only focus on the craziest ones, like this boing. And we'll also go through the universal changes. But before we talk about all of this though, I do have a bit of an announcement. Today we're launching a brand new Discord server dedicated to the anime game community. It's a Discord focused on tournaments and competitive play, and the goal is to bring all of these anime communities together and help each other grow. And the best part is that even though I own the server, each community is run by themselves. For instance, Ichunka will be the Demon Slayer Game Master. Air Force One will be the Storm Game Master. And each Game Master has full power to create new chats, guides, whatever the community needs. We're gonna start slow with only 4 games, but we are definitely gonna get more as we find more Game Masters within the different communities. Those 4 games are Demon Slayer and Storm, as I already mentioned. We're also gonna do Dragon Ball FighterZ. I mean, there's a reason why I'm mentioning it in this video. And also I wanted some FGC crossover. The FGC and the AGC coming together, that's gonna be super cool. And because I want to step out of my comfort zone and not just do games that I know super well, we are also doing Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3. We already have a tournament lined up for each one of these games during the month of June. And the idea is to grow during this month and increase the number of games and tournaments that the server holds every week. So I'm gonna leave a link down below to the AGC Discord. If you want to get into it right now, whether it be as a player, a commentator, or a tournament organizer, that's right. If you have a channel and you host tournaments and stream them, you can use this player base. You can use this server. That's ultimately what it's meant for. And I'll tease you by saying that this is only step 1 of a pretty big project that I'm working on. So look forward to more announcements soon, but for now, let's get into this patch. First up, the universal changes, and we start with C assists, which got a really good buff. All of their cooldowns just went from 14 seconds down to 11. So they've shaved off 3 seconds there. Bear in mind, this is still over double the time that it takes for a normal assist to generate, as A and B assists take around 5 seconds to return. And that's really the only universal change. The rest is, let's call it semi-universal. There's a bit of a meter nerf for a lot of characters, and this meter nerf is different depending on who you're talking about. The top 3 characters in the game got a big meter nerf. That is Vegito, Gogeta Blue, and Labcoat 21. They build half the meter they used to. Let's look at this Gogeta combo, for instance. It used to build almost 2 bars of meter, and now look at it. Not even a full bar. This may not seem like it, but this is indeed a big nerf for them. These characters will now spend most of their time without meter. You might still see them played here and there, but I think all of them together is a pretty bad idea now, because it makes their 2-touch plans a lot harder to execute. Whether that will be enough or not, we'll have to find out later, but if at first it seems like they messed up by not nerfing these characters harder, I'd say this nerf is very significant, and I understand them not going further and waiting for community feedback around this change. The rest of the characters on this list, Hit, Zamasu, Janemba, and Gogeta 4, all got a small meter nerf, about 75% of what they used to have, which is still a pretty big nerf, but definitely not as big as the top 3. That said, none of these characters got any other nerfs. That's all that happened to them, just the meter nerf. But the semi-universal changes aren't all nerfs. Here's a pretty big buff to pretty much all beams. You know how you can beam into Super Dash with a ton of different characters? Well, now you can do it from full screen. They increased the untechable time of a lot of beams, and that also applies to assists. But Kamehameha into Super Dash combos are no longer situational, and this will buff the damage of a lot of characters by giving them new routes. That's it for the universal changes. Let's get on to the big nerfs. And only 2 characters got nerfed beyond the meter change. Let's start with the big one, Labcoat 21. Spin to win was a problem, and I think it will still be a problem. However, if you block it now, you can reflect it at any time. It's like a Key Blast assist. It's got Key Blast properties. So if Labcoat thinks she can get in for free by spinning and calling an assist, she's very wrong. You reflect and you just return to neutral. This applies to both her vertical and horizontal spins, as well as her assist. In addition to that, the command grab got a damage nerf as well, and this paired up up with a meter nerf that we talked about is a pretty big nuke to the character. But let's not forget the amount of options that she still has to mix you up and how powerful these spins are at catching opponents in neutral. After all, you can't reflect if you're in the air. Gogeta Blue got a very simple nerf besides the meter. Down heavy now has landing recovery. So he basically lost his 50-50 mix that he used to go for in block strings or on wake up. If he goes for a low, it's now much slower, so it's not a 50-50 anymore. And that's all the nerfs actually. Most of this patch is buffs, and there's some pretty crazy stuff here. Crazy enough to create a new meta for sure. Even if you think fusions were nerfed enough, trust me, when you see these buffs, you will see the change in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Vegeta Blue is one of the new monsters of DBFZ, and it's all thanks to the change to the Big Bang attack. First of all, you can now super dash after it hits, as if it was a beam. But that's not all. They increase the damage of the Big Bang attack and allow you to cancel this into other special moves, and just like that, Vegeta's damage is insane now. Big Bang into lags before any smash attack for a combo extension, Big Bang into super dash for another extension, Big Bang into command grab to finish a combo with a knockdown for free. Heck, Big Bang into more Big Bang, because why not? You need to use the medium auto combo for this cancel, by the way. I learned that today. But all of that together is really big damage and meter. Vegeta is insane now. Super Saiyan Vegeta also got a nice buff. First of all, his dash kick now changes how Vegeta moves afterwards if you hold forward. It's got a really good float and a nice opportunity for left-right mix. It's not high-low though because it has landing recovery. But the big buff to this character is the consecutive energy blast. You can now super dash after it hits the opponent. Not only that, you can also follow up with another special move on hit, and this immediately changes his combo routes. You can also vanish while doing this even if the Ki Blast whiffs, so they're a lot safer to use. This change, by the way, also applies to Gotenks Ki Blast and Android 21's absorbed ability. Finally, you know his dive kick with down light? He's also got a down medium version too, which means Vegeta has a guaranteed knockdown without having to go through that horrible recovery from his DP. And yes, you can do it after the consecutive energy blast as well. Android 18 didn't get buffed much, but it feels like she was always just a change away from being one of the top characters in this game, and this might just do it. You can now cancel barrier into other special moves, including more barrier. 17 now attacks full screen on the medium version, the heavy version is also faster, and you can now stand next to your brother, both shooting Ki Blasts on the special version. It looks cool. Also, the air version of this move, the shield, you can now do it on the ground if you just hold the special button, giving her more barriers because she needed it. What a nightmare she's gonna be. Piccolo finally has a mid-screen knockdown without spending meter because of a really funny change. His jumping heavy now has a different type of knockback. Look at that spin go. This means that you can jump cancel in the air and go into a Dragon Rush, getting the knockdown for free. Slicer light and medium versions are now both full screen as well. The orb seems to track a bit better, and those are the main changes to Piccolo. I'll probably forget all of them though, because hehe, funny knockback. Trunks mains, rejoice! Your man got a buff! Again, I don't think it's gonna do much. To be honest, it feels like Trunks can now do a lot of things that other characters have been able to do for a while. His biggest change is to change the future in my opinion. If you hold the button, you can now do other special moves. So his fake pressure is trickier now. Other than that, they adjusted the distance on shining / light and heavy versions, which means he gets a bit more damage when finishing combos mid-screen and guaranteed knockdowns. Paired up with a beam into super dash change, this will create new routes for Trunks. Z Broly didn't get a lot of changes, but they're a big deal. After jumping heavy, he gets to restart his combo, just like that. Not only that, jumping down heavy can move slightly forward now, making it work mid-screen. This means that Broly doesn't have to vanish on every single combo he does. He's gonna have a lot more meter to play around thanks to these new routes. Ginyu is another one of the big monsters of this patch. First of all of his lariats are full screen now. Second of all, he can cancel his standing heavy by calling the Ginyu Force. So it's gonna be even trickier blocking against him. And his super has been buffed if you do a level 2. It has increased damage and you can do some stuff after it. For instance, you can super dash, you can do other special moves, or even just more supers, which means that he basically has a level 7. His B assist now summons 2 Ginyu Force members at the same time, making it much better, and he's got a few other changes too, but these are definitely the big ones. I don't think people in general want to play Ginyu. He's a tough character to master, so we probably won't see him a lot in casual or ranked matches, but in tournaments, he might be a problem. Roshi is another one of those characters that many players find him hard to play with, but maybe with the damage buff he just got, we'll see a lot more folks gravitating towards him. He can combo on his own after Thunder Shock Surprise, skyrocketing his damage without much effort. He can also cancel his beam into other specials now, including the beams he does in the air, his like kinda super dash beams, and that's really good for him. Yamcha got a couple of invulnerable moves, and they're not the ones you'd expect. Standing medium and standing heavy are now frame 4 invincible. The medium gets smoked by low attacks, but the heavy is just invincible, period. Everything else is pretty much the same, just don't forget he got a beam, which means the beam changes also apply to him. And finally, let's talk about Frieza. He's the last character we're gonna highlight today. First, here's his new standing medium. Yep, that's great. And then he's got some new orbs. You can throw the normal orbs at normal speed, the same it used to be, or you can now throw slow-moving orbs by pressing back, and you can just create so much noise on screen. Both of his assists got some interesting changes too. This is the normal assist, but now you can do it closer to your character with down back, or further with down forward. And yes, for his B assist, you can also choose between the regular orb or the slow-moving orb by holding back. Overall, I think this patch is good. It hit the top tiers with a big meter nerf, and we'll see if that's enough. It might have created new monsters as well. I think Android 18, Ginyu, and Blue Vegeta are looking kinda scary, but only time will tell how good the patch really is. Personally, I'm just happy to see that the meta is about to change. The beam change alone has affected more characters than you'd initially think. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you want to join the brand new anime game community server, there's a Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament coming up next week already. Link down below, and hopefully this means we'll get more DLC in the future too, with the addition of rollback later. This Raditz mod is a really good idea of how things could be in the future. Check out that video if you're interested, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.